Good afternoon. Welcome to the Crossware webinar. My name is Tasha Sultanovich, and I'm the Ingram Micro Cloud Onboarding Manager here for NZ. I'm just going to give everyone maybe another 20 or 30 seconds for our latecomers, because we are super punctual at the moment. So let me just come back to you just in a minute. Maybe if anyone is currently on, if you can just maybe give me a little shout out in the chat box to make sure that you can hear me and that everything's working fine and you can see our first slide, that would be awesome. I'm going to take the lack of response as a positive and that you can hear me. Awesome. Well, it looks like we have a few attendees on board, which is amazing. Thank you for joining us. Like I said, my name is Tasha. I'm with the Ingram Micro Cloud team, and I'm here to introduce Crossware, an email signature management tool that's now available from our Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace in Australia. A little bit about Crossware. So Crossware streamlines the creation and maintenance of company email signatures. Companies struggle with consistent branding, and when you leave it up to their employees to update changes manually, like Helen, who decides she needs to have a italicized pink signature and a picture of her cat in her email signature, sometimes HR gets a bit annoyed. So, or maybe there's more important legal terms that need to be included in all outgoing mails at the bottom, something a bit more serious. So whether it's branding or legality, Crossware has a tool that can lock that down for you. They've recently been added to our Microsoft ecosystem via the Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace, and now holds the record for the fastest new vendor sale ever on Marketplace by receiving their first order within, I think it was 7 days, might have been 5 days. It was a record, so that was pretty cool. We've been working with Crossware for a couple of years now to get them channel ready and up on Marketplace. There are 3 brands pricing, 1 great product, true month-to-month subscription, and even trials. Trials are made easy because the user per month subscription is $1.10. And so if you want to jump on, buy yourself a subscription for a month to give it a go, you absolutely can. And if you love it, keep it. So I will show you in a little while after our presenters how you actually order Crossware on Marketplace. Do me a favor, put your questions in the chat box at any time during the webinar, and I'll come back to them at the end. Pretty excited to announce Janet and Peter. If you want to flick to the next slide for me, we can see their lovely faces. Oh, next slide. There we are. So we have Janet and Peter. Peter's going to be kicking off our presentation. He's the general manager for Crossware and is over in New Zealand. Peter, please take it away.
Well, hello everyone. It's a real privilege to be joining you this afternoon. And we're very excited about joining with Ingram on the marketplace here and with our solution. And as Tasha said, our email signature solution, we believe is the perfect enterprise solution for beautiful email signatures. The little piece of information that goes at the bottom of your email is so powerful and can be used for so many different uses, which we'll come to in a moment. So this solution is for Microsoft 365, formerly known as Office 365. And so first of all, I'd like to just give you a little bit of an overview about what we're going to share with you today before my colleague Janet takes over and gives you a little bit more of an in-depth on the product itself. So let's take a look at what we're going to speak about this afternoon. So first of all, I just want to highlight that this is an enterprise solution. And while it does scale from the smallest business right through to the largest corporate, it is an enterprise solution. But we have priced it and made it accessible to the small business as well, which is great. So we'll talk about the enterprise nature of it. We'll also talk about our dynamic signatures, how every email that leaves your organization has the ability to be dynamic with engaging content. And that's what this solution will deliver for you. We'll take a look at that. Obviously, there's enhanced marketing capabilities made available through the product, and those enhanced marketing with banner engagement and beautiful looking imagery and logos and all of the things that you would like to be able to add into every email leaving your corporation. Also, compliance. Compliance is becoming, I guess, bigger and bigger as time goes on, and more people are really taking this seriously, as they should. And with the different regulations that are coming in, like the ones that are coming in around data privacy and giving advice to people, compliance is a big one, especially on advice given in emails. So we can take care of that as well. And the last thing that we'll cover today, which I guess is what you want to hear, is what is the partner opportunity? How can we help you grow your business as a partner and also your customers in return? So we'll come to that at the end. So first of all, if we just go to the next, before I hand over to Janet, we just have a quick poll. So this is a quick poll question that we'd like to ask you. So we just interested in knowing the sort of average company size that you're dealing with out there in the market. So if you think about your customers, have a little think and just see what you can pick there where your customers are sitting in the different ranges. So we'll just give you some time to place your results in the poll.
I'll be interested to see, Peter, where the most common customer segment is.
Yes.
Are you going to get? I was going to get you to guess before we.
There we go.
Does that
No.
surprise you?
No, I guess in this region of the world, we do see a few in that section. But what is interesting is there are the 6% that are in that next one, and there will be the odd few that do sit a bit higher as well. So no, that's great. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good insight. So now I'd like to hand over to my colleague Janet. She's going to take you through a bit more detail. Thanks, Janet. Over to you.
Great, thank you, Peter. So just a little overview. I'll go over a few slides about Crossware Mail Signature, and then we'll have a look at a preview of our Signature Designer. So I'm just going to share with you the 6 common challenges that customers face and how we solve these. So let's have a look at some of the drivers. So what are the business requirements? The reasons why you would be looking for an email signature solution. And firstly, there is a demand for brand awareness, so consistent branding where businesses are looking to streamline their corporate branding from their website down to their email signatures. And we find this is normally driven by the marketing or the communications team. Secondly, we have increased banner engagement. So we see more companies coming on board for this reason. So a way to promote your services and your products on your signatures. And, emails can be an effective promotion channel. So you can include your targeted campaigns, you can add your webinars, and look, any of these images that you add, you can link to your a URL, so your company website. And so just really driving that awareness and increasing the website traffic is really important. It's just jumped ahead. So another key requirement, and I think this is really important to note, is the need for centralized managed solution. And so this is just really where Crossware takes control from the users who are managing and updating their signatures with fancy logos and having to make changes that will, and you have to do that on your workstation and your mobile phone. So Crossware really just takes away that control and lets your admin or your marketing team manage that. Yes. And so a must-have is the ability to easily build and apply simple or complex rules. So as you know, there isn't just a one size fits all signature. So we need some flexibility with that. And to do that, we need to have some rules to decide how a signature is used. What will my signature look like when I'm sending an email internally or externally? And there is a requirement for legal compliance. So complying with your company policies, relevant laws and regulations for your country is also important. And we apply a signature to every email that you send and from every device. So there's nothing to install on your workstation. There are no special configurations that you need on your mobile phone. You can just be confident that when you create your signature in Crossware Mail Signature, that this is going to be stamped on all emails that you send out. Okay, so now to make sure you cover all types of scenarios within your organization, we do offer flexibility. So these are the things that you want to think about when you're creating a signature and how to apply these to your users. So you may have groups with specific needs, and so you can create signatures based on different departments. So your sales team may have information such as a new product, whereas IT may have a notice on their signature about a scheduled migration that's coming up. You may need to take into consideration that your company spans different cities and locations, and these may need specific things on their signatures. Perhaps your organization is structured around email domains in your Microsoft tenant. And so it may make sense to apply a signature block based on the email domain you belong to. You can apply rules to your signatures. You can apply depending on a date range or a subject trigger. And depending on the email types, we can apply a different signature for a new or reply email, whether it's internal or an external email. And all of these can be changed based on those conditions. Now, we believe we have built the world's best signature designer, and that is because we have a powerful signature designer, an intuitive UI designed for all users of all IT abilities. We give you full control in designing your signatures. You can choose from one of our pre-designed templates, or you can design one from design your own. And Crossware has configurable directory field lookups, allowing you to arrange how you can display data from the directory in your signature. So for example, you may have a mobile number entry for everyone in your organization. However, you may only want that information to show for a certain department. And so with Crossware, we can do that. We can configure those and customize those fields. So if you belong to the sales team, then your mobile phone will show. And finally, yep, you can send your signatures are applied on every device. So let's have a look at some of the unique features that really do set Crossware apart from other solutions in the market. So the most unique feature with Crossware is the concept of signature blocks. So this is where we can inject flexibility in the way a signature is displayed based on conditions, and I'll share an example of how that looks next. Our powerful rule builder is really simple and powerful. So simply just create a signature, apply a rule, and then you can specify a condition such as a time and date range for your signature campaigns. Or it may be that you want to target external contacts with specific signature campaigns. So that's really quite flexible to use. We include a real-time preview, so on screen, once you've created your signature, you can have a look with our real-time preview. You can see how your signature looks depending on who you're sending your email to, and before you send that email. And lastly, you have the flexibility to arrange your signatures depending on above the email message or below, and that is through the use of our custom signature placement. So just going into the signature blocks into a little bit more detail. So here I've decided I want to create an external block. So first, what I'll do is I'll create a signature block called disclaimer. I'll add in my details there, and I'll assign that as an external block. Next, we will add a marketing banner. So here we might add in some promotion information. Then we will include also a signature block, which has our contact information. So this is all our information pulled in from Azure Active Directory. And then we would add a branding block. So this will include all our corporate logo and imagery and social media icons. So that's how we build up our external signature block. And because we have these blocks, we may choose to do a different signature when we're sending internally. So internally, we may just create a block for notices. This may just hold information about what's happening in the company, any information that's related to your department you can add here. And so just something really simple, because we don't really want to have all the branding and the disclaimer when we're sending emails internally. And then we can add our contact details. So again, we can customize this. So this could be just a short version of the external contact block. So this could just have your first name, last name, your department, and your extension number. So we could break that up into different blocks. So again, depending on who you're sending the message to, you can apply a different signature block. So what I'm trying to really emphasize here is that with our signature management, complex is made simple. So if you wanted to add an employee photo to your signature, you can do that. If you're interested in social media links, you can add that into your signature. You can even fine tune some of those links there. So for example, LinkedIn, you may have a corporate LinkedIn profile that you want for all your users. However, you may have some that want to use their individual LinkedIn profile. So you can also use that as well. We can add in your professional title and your certification information. And we can also work with you if you have custom requirements, and that may be complex disclaimers for legal compliance. And I know we have worked with some other companies where we have included an opt-out status for GDPR. So those are things that we can work with. So if you do have any of those scenarios that are unique to your company, do let us know, and we can help you out there. Right, so let's have a look at the preview of our signature designer. So I am logged in here into the portal, Crossware portal, and in here on the home page, on the top panel, you've got an option there to create your signature. So you can create a blank signature, or you can select from one of our signatures from our signature library, and get started right away. So we've got two signatures set up here. We've got signature A and signature B. And you can see just a quick snippet of that signature on the window here. So we'll go ahead and click on signature A. All right, so here we've got the signature editor in the main screen. And to the right, we have 3 tabs. So we've got blocks here, signature blocks, fields and images. And in the signature designer, the editor, it's actually 2 sections here. So we've got above section, so that's anything here appears above the email message. And in the green section below, that's any signature blocks that appear right after you type your email. So for this one, we've already got 4 signature blocks set up. But if you don't have them ready, you can click and create a new block here on the screen. So for the first block here, we've got block 1, and that appears above the email message. And that's our corporate branding logo and our social media icons. And then just below there, we've got our contact. So there are actually 3 blocks here, and we've got our contact information block, and this includes all the fields that are pulled down from Active Directory. So just to the right tab, second tab, under fields, you can find this information. So, and this is just a drag and drop. So you can drag and drop your first name, your last name, your job title, and so on. So that's your second block. And the third block here is the marketing banner. And this block includes an image marketing block banner, and the images are found in the image tab. So at the top right, you can click on images. You can save your images there, or you can upload them from your computer into your signature. So that's our third signature block. And then our last block is block 4, and that's our disclaimer added just down there. So just to note, you can click and drag these blocks around and rearrange them if you need to. Okay, so we can also specify here who the signature is for. So this signature here is assigned to admin@crosswaredemo.co.nz. Right, so most of the work or the changes or this building of the signature can be done here. However, there may be a requirement where you may need to change something that's not in the editor. And so what we use is you can edit the HTML block. And as you can see here, if you wanted to change, for example, like the font, you can go ahead and update that here, or the font size, and that will just update in real time. All right, so once your signature is created, you can preview signature. So you click on the preview signature button there, and this window will open up. You will see here who the signature is from, admin, the additional criterias. This is going to an external recipient, and this is a new email. You can see that the information has populated here for the admin from Azure Active Directory. So you've got your first name and your last name and your position and your company details there. So that's the preview on the screen. You can see your signature, see what it looks like, and depending on who you're sending to, that signature will populate here. And finally, so this is our last slide before I hand it back to Peter, is just an overview describing how Crossware email signature works. So from any device, a user sends an email via the Microsoft 365 environment. So within Microsoft Cloud, Crossware service adds an email signature to the message. We will use the information we can read from your Azure Active Directory, such as the first name, the job title, and dynamically add that data to your signature. The email is then sent from your Microsoft Office 365 tenant for delivery to your recipient. Right, and just before I hand it back to Peter, I see that we've got a poll question here. So if you could go through and select what business sector do you see the most inquiries from? You can put down your answer there, and then we'll be back with Peter. Thank you.
Thanks, Janet. Janet, do you want to take a guess which one's going to be the most popular?
Okay. Well, we normally deal with retail, so I would say retail would be.
No, she thinks retail. Awesome. I don't have a prize for you if you win, though. Sorry. I really enjoyed your presentation too. That's the most in depth I've actually heard Crossware explain. It was really easy.
Right.
Oh,
that's good.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
You wouldn't have got a prize. That is.
I was gonna pick government, so I was just slightly back there.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, Janet. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Great. So I'm just going to take it up from here, and just wanted to highlight a couple of points. So first of all, once we just get the screen going to the next one here, just bear with us while we make this transition. So first of all, just to highlight, Crossware is built on top of Microsoft Azure. So we have chosen this platform, obviously, as you'll be aware, for its robust security models, its standards that it holds itself to. And we basically leverage all those components within Microsoft Azure to deliver a world-class solution that is trusted by your customers and by the industry. A couple of things to highlight with this infrastructure is you would have seen in the demo from Janet that our designer is actually a web browser. I don't know if you picked up on that, but what it means is you don't have to install an application on a desktop or anything. You can just log into a browser, and what you log in with is your Microsoft credential. So you just log in as you normally would to Office 365 with your same username and password that you use for Microsoft, and Microsoft handles the authentication into our portal. Once you're in there, we talked about the email flowing through our service where we add the branding, marketing, beautiful looking signature. That transportation of data is done using secure transport layer or TLS, using encryption keys both directions to make sure that your data is secure. As I said, it's built completely in Azure. And that also gives us the ability to deploy to any region inside Microsoft Azure. So any data center in Microsoft Azure we can deploy to. Now that's a world first. No one else is able to do that, but Crossware can. We can deploy to any region. Now, obviously, yourselves being based in Australia, we would be deploying to the Australian data centers, which is the case. But just so you're aware, we do have the capability to be in any data center around the globe. So next I want to just go to a little bit more of a detailed diagram of the one that you saw previously from Janet. This is what we call our standard service, which is the one that is hosted in Microsoft Azure. It's a subscription-based model, as we've already discussed, and I'll just talk you through how that works. So an end user would send an email. So from any device, whether it's a mobile, browser, or desktop, they would send that email. It would go to Exchange Online. Once it's sitting in Exchange Online, the email is then looped through to Crossware, to the service sitting in Azure. That processing engine processes the email using all of the rich functionality of Crossware with the rules and the capabilities to see what blocks should be applied for this particular email and which recipient it's going to and how it should look, and basically constructs a signature that's customized per email. We then do all that. That's all done in memory. It's all done in real time. We pull the data from the directory in real time, so it's always up to date, always current. And then we send that email back into Exchange Online. We call that a closed loop. Very unique and very important, because the email doesn't ever become in the ownership of Crossware. It remains in the ownership of your customer. So Exchange Online would then receive that email back into itself with the branding and marketing all done and the signature on there. And then Exchange Online is responsible for delivering the email to the end recipient, hence the closed loop nature. So that's our standard service that's available right now, as you'll hear from Tush from the portal. There is one thing I want to highlight, and that is from time to time, and this is just really by way of information. From time to time, we have some organizations who get all the way through the sales process, and then at the end, a security person might say, well, we don't want to loop email through a third party. And all I'm wanting to just highlight here is, if that discussion does happen, we do have a solution. It's not the end game. We do have an opportunity that we can make available to you. So just keep that in the back of your mind if that comes up. And what we've done is we've got our enterprise private cloud solution, which basically takes all the power of the Crossware processing engine, and it packages it as a container and lets the customer deploy that capability into their own Azure subscription. So therefore they can take control over the processing engine and deployment in their own Microsoft Azure tenant. And then the encryption that happens in that closed loop is using their own certificates and so on. So I won't spend too long on that. I just wanted you to be aware that if there is that requirement around third-party routing or keeping it within the control of an organization, then we still have a solution. You still have all the benefits as a partner from our standard license part. There's just an additional part that we can add on there for you, and we can discuss that should that need arise. So I guess we come to the part now of the presentation that you've all been really waiting for, and that's to say, well, what's the opportunity for me as a partner? How can we make good on this and build our own business and help our customers? So that's what I want to talk about next. So what are the opportunities? Well, first of all, with any opportunity like this, you would like a simple, easy way of deploying, and that's exactly what we deliver. So right from inside the Ingram portal, you can do the purchase, go through the configuration, get it all up and running all yourself. There's all the automations taken care of. We do the deployments. There's a few steps that you need to do inside Microsoft Azure, which is fully documented, simple steps, just a few groups and rules that's simple to do. So the deployment's taken care of, and obviously that's important. The next thing we'd like to say is that this really is an enabler for digital transformation. You know, the email is such a powerful tool. It's something that's going to a target audience in the very nature of it being sent to someone that you're aware of, or that your customer is engaging with their end users or their target markets. And so every email leaving an organization is an opportunity to do some digital marketing and some branding and letting people know about your services and your amazing products that are made. So as far as a digital transformation, this is a key, I believe, to helping make good on that. The next thing is increased stickiness. So we always want to have our customers stay loyal to ourselves. And as you know, there's a lot of choice out there from where we can purchase our services and so on from. So by adding Crossware to your portfolio of tools and capabilities, you help keep your customers aligned to yourselves as a partner, because you're the ones that are offering this extra capability and the others aren't. So that's why it's a really good tool to make sure you have attached to all of your sales of Office 365. And then we can look at the value added opportunity. So you might be selling an Office 365 licensed for a customer, but if you add Crossware on top of that, you're going to increase the opportunity there and give some additional capability that they don't currently have. And so that's a really good opportunity for you to be able to market your services as well. Which brings me to the streamlined migration. this is becoming a huge topic at the moment. There are lots of corporates out there who are migrating off on-prem solutions for mail onto the cloud. And so what we have found is that it's a really good time and a really good opportunity to add Crossware mail signature to the migration project itself, because it's this very small line item to add to the overall cost of a migration project. And what that does is it actually enables you to build up all your signatures, have them all looking great, already ready to go. So the very first person that gets migrated to the new platform in the cloud will have a signature from day one. Now, we've been called in to quite a few corporates globally where they have done this migration to the cloud, haven't considered the email signature, and then in a panic, figure what are we going to do about getting signatures for our cloud solution? And we've come in and thankfully we've been able to rescue them and save the day because of the simple deployment and the quick deployment. But it was great if we can build this in at the beginning. So if you can consider that from when you're doing your migrations right at the start, then every email that goes out from day one will have the branding. It also means you don't have to worry about the old ways of doing things where you have to go around machines and try and get people to update cell phone signatures, which just doesn't happen. So all of that headache is totally removed and your migration is then smooth and slick and everything's taken care of. The last point, I guess, is the potential to increase revenue. And obviously this is a big one. So yes, we can make some revenue on selling Office 365 licenses, but you can appreciate, percentage-wise, that's quite small. But if you add Crossware to that as well, because of the generous margins that you can receive through the Ingram portal for our solution, you can really increase your revenue for every single sale of an Office 365 license. And that's obviously monthly. It's every time you do a renewal, you'll be able to get both the Microsoft portion and also the Crossware mail signature portion as well, which also helps. You also have the opportunity to increase revenue through services, because you might have a company who's interested in doing a campaign and you can help them as a business partner to build their banners and their marketing engagement and really show them how they can leverage the power of our solution to promote their service or their offering. So there's a few options there around increasing revenue, but it's very significant, and we really, we find that our partners who have got on board with this have seen some great results. So obviously that's the big thing we wanted to pass on. So next we're going to come to the actual Ingram Micro Cloud Marketplace, and I'll be handing back to Tasha, who will be going through that with you in detail so that you can get a full understanding of what is available to you and how you make those sales through the portal. But before we do that, we have one more poll which we'd like to get you to take a quick look at, and that really is what are the business challenges that that you're seeing from your customers? What are they most trying to solve? Is it the branding? Is it the campaigns? Is it the centralized management, trying to remove all, the hard work of trying to get around to mobile phones and desktops to be able to do it all centrally? Is it migrating to the cloud or something else? So if you could just go ahead and take your pick, and we'll see what that one comes back with.
I'm learning a lot today, Peter. This is really good. Really, really good presentation. Thank you. Yeah.
Wow, centralized management. Yep.
By far.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you?
It does. Yeah. Well, to be honest, it really does take all the pain away from those businesses. And what we like to say is that, we employ staff to do what they're good at doing. And they should be able to be free to do what they've been employed to do, which is whatever role in the business. And it isn't to update their cell phone signature and try and figure out how that's done, right? And waste hours trying to get a logo into a desktop, right? It often doesn't even happen. So the centralized management is key to a successful marketing and branding and compliance. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome, really awesome. I'm going to take everyone through just really quick. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go off script here, Peter. Oh my goodness. There is a couple of questions that have popped up, and I usually save them to the end, but let's just ask a couple of them now.
Sure.
Not for resale, SKUs for resellers was asked by Mark, and I saw in the chat that the answer is definitely yes, and to simply go to the partner.crossware.co.nz website, and they can they can attain that directly from you, correct, Peter?
So which bit are we talking about, sorry?
There's a gentleman called Mark who's asked about where to attain a NFR for partners, not for
Right, sure.
resale, for resellers to
Sorry,
use.
yes, I understand. Yes, yeah, they can sign up as a partner from our website. There is a partner information which we could probably send out to you at the end of this presentation. Just there is a partner.crossware.co.nz.
Absolutely. We'll do a follow-up EDM to all the registrants. So pop that through to me and Tarika, and we'll add that. Absolutely.
Sure.
There's nothing better than having something and liking it that's going to make you want to sell it. I mean,
That's exactly right. So yes, we absolutely look after our partners, and we will help you get on board with that.
I got another question here from Matt. Can a separate signature be allocated to an email alias of an M365 user if they are replying from their non-default address?
That's a very technical question, and I would like to say that the answer actually really is yes. It's just I would need to know a little bit more detail about the specifics of that. But because we give you a very powerful rule builder, if you can, so you have access to, the subject of an email, you have access to who it's from, the domains, the Azure directory, you have access to fields in there. You can build up a custom rule that says, if the email comes from this domain or from this person from this department on this day of the week, and it's going to this domain, then use this block or use this logo. So there is power there. To be honest, we haven't met a requirement that we haven't been able to solve, because we're in 72 different countries at the moment, and we've had from the large 100,000 user companies to the smaller. So we've seen quite a range of requirements. So I'm sure we can make something.
Requirements.
Yeah, so I'm sure we can make that work. So I apologize if I haven't quite fully understood the requirement, but that is something that we can definitely take offline and discuss with you around how we could make that work for you.
Perfect. I got another couple here too, Peter. This is a technical one, so again, do your best, but happy for this to be taken offline as well. With current Office 365 users / companies with manually created signatures, is there a solution to assist with stripping this content? Oh.
Yeah, that's a good one. So there are group policy objects that you can use to remove if you have an AD. If it's a true new organization that doesn't have an on-prem Active Directory and only has Azure Active Directory, i.e. they're only cloud-based purely, then there currently isn't a policy that enables that to be turned off, but I know that Microsoft are adding those policies all the time and increasing the capability of the Azure Active Directory. So we do have a few companies that have simply given some simple instructions to their users about how to disable that, and they have done that quite successfully. So we've had an education provider, a school that's done that just recently, and they had a great success with that. So yeah, it's a yes and a no. It's both, depending on the specifics of whether they have Active Directory or whether they're purely Azure Active Directory.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. And do the email signatures preview on Outlook desktop mobile devices as they are composing?
Yeah,
which
that's
I think might be,
that's a brilliant question. Thanks for that one.
Yeah.
So we didn't cover that in our presentation, but we've got a few minutes, so let me explain.
Yeah, please.
So Janet, you're okay if I'll continue with this, seeing as I've kind of started. Yeah, the
Take over. She's muted. She's muted. We can just
okay,
take over.
we're all good. So we do give you a few options. So because this is a centrally managed solution, we want to make it as robust and secure as we can to protect the company's image and protect the company's legal state and their branding. And so if we were to put the email signature into the body of the email at the client source, then the user has the ability to remove that content. Now, you can appreciate in some sectors that would be dangerous. So if you're giving financial advice or legal advice, or you're a school and you're giving an opinion, and there's a legal disclaimer that goes at the bottom of email that says, the views of this email don't necessarily reflect the views of the organization or whatever. You want to make sure that your users can't strip that off, okay? So that is one of the reasons we don't display the email signature in the body of the email on Compose. However, we're fully aware that some organizations do have that requirement, and so we have built a couple of great solutions. Again, both of these were world firsts, and the first one is I'll just use this one. It's a browser-based one. So we basically give you a URL that you can publish in a number of ways. One organization we did this for simply put it into Microsoft Teams as a tab in one of their teams, and they just basically click on the tab in Microsoft Teams, and it displays what their signature would look like, and it's a real-time signature. So it gives you what the internal signature would look like, and it gives you what your external signature would look like. So if your job title changed and you refresh the page, you would see the change of job title would be reflected on the screen. Why we like that solution is that there's nothing to install. It's basically just very simple. It's just a URL. Now you can publish that, as I said, on Teams. You could email it out as a link in an email. You could pop it on an intranet as a button. So that's a real easy way of getting a preview to every user so they can see what their signature looks like. The second option is our dynamic signature suite. So our dynamic add-in is a powerful tool. And what that is you can basically push out this button from Azure AD, Active Directory, Azure Active Directory. You can log in there, you can publish a web-based add-in to Outlook. And what that does is it adds a little button in Microsoft Outlook for desktop and for Outlook Web Access. And what it does is it opens a little preview pane on the right-hand side of a newly composed email. It just pops out to the side, and you get to see your signature in that there on the side panel. You can pin it, so it always will happen every time you click new email. So every time you click a new email, whether you're in Outlook Web Access or on the desktop, you will see your signature built on the right-hand side of the screen, showing exactly what it would look like. And it is dynamic. So if you were to, in the to field, send an email to an internal person, you would notice on that right-hand pane that you would see your internal signature. If you were to delete the internal person and put an external email address in there, the right-hand pane would refresh and you would see your external signature with your branding and marketing on there. So we do have that capability that is available as well. Obviously, with any of these things, though, the more you add to a user, sometimes we don't necessarily need to have those things for all industries. But the last thing I want to mention about that add-in is we also give the users ability to select signatures. So we have a few organizations out there that may represent multi-brands. So I know one company has a legal department, but they might be representing 2 or 3 different brands depending on who they're sending the email to. So you can actually give your users, say, 3 or 4 signatures on the right-hand pane, and they can select which signature they want to go out on which email. They can have a default one that's like 90% of their emails, or they could say, actually, for this one email, I want to select this signature, and they can just select it, and then the server will know to attach that signature when it goes out. So that's a very big whirlwind explanation. But if you do head
A
on
good
over to our
question.
if you head on over to our Crossware website, you can actually go to dynamic signatures on the website, and we've got all the details there about what it can do. So to check it out.
Well, and I think what I'll add to this as well, since these questions are really, really good and you're really good at answering them, when we do send out the follow-up EDM, I'll make sure to include the people also at Crossware who they can contact to actually get like an answer that is that is going to be a lot more full and feature rich than anything I'm going to be able to explain. Amazing, really. Yeah,
Sure.
really, really good. Thank you, Peter.
Cool.
I'm going to, if Ash, sorry, Anna, if you can give me control now as well, if you have the power, I will just, thank you. I will just quickly take you through how to order this awesome product. And it is just one product. That's what's amazing about it. We're not going to show you 16 different SKUs or anything like that. We have bands of pricing, but ultimately it's one fantastic product here. So log into Cloud Marketplace with your account as per normal. It's under communication and collaboration. Like, standard feature here for a landing page. You have your features and benefits, overview tab, buy now. Very, very straightforward. Our website. Now here we go. There's the 3 banded pricing. And Peter, if I deviate from something or you don't agree with something I'm saying, because you did help build this onto our website, please do interrupt me.
No problem.
So there's 3 bands of pricing. So as you can see, 1 to 249 is your basic. And this is also what we suggest if you want to have a trial, buy one. It's $1.10 and cancel it within 30 days. Or, as I said before, if you love it, well, buy some more. So choose your band, go to your cart, increase your quantities within the banding. So as you can see, you can buy up to 233 at this price. If you can't go over that because then you should be buying the other SKU because it's cheaper. So off we go. Choose your pre-created end user customer or create your new customer as per normal. And then this is the fun bit. So I experimented with this last night because I wanted to find a way to explain it. Peter, I know we both talked about how to make this clear. So when you get to this parameters page, there's two fields that you need to fill out. One is adding literally your company name. So I put Ingram Micro, and then I put dot on Microsoft.com, and it immediately does a real-time validation because I played around with some other things and it just won't work. So if you don't put in the correct tenant, you're not going to get any further. And then you're probably going to ring me and ask me why. Select a country. You can select any country you want, but I think as Peter explained, select Australia for the best performance, but they are in 72 different countries. So
Can I just add on that tenant name?
absolutely.
So
The
that tenant
more
name is
information, the better.
your customer's tenant name. So you just need to make sure
Oh,
you get your customer's tenant name, because this is where we're going to deploy the service. The
whoops.
service will be deployed into their tenant under their tenant name. Now those tenant names are unique. Obviously, you can only ever have one of those per .onmicrosoft.com because it's a common last part there. So sometimes they're quite unique, or they're quite funny, or they're quite interesting names, but just make sure you grab your customer's one.
Thank you. And I'll update this so that when it doesn't say your company name, I might just put
Yeah, the help
the
text at the top says
company.
customer
Yeah,
tenant name. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Then we go through. Bit of a delay here. And this is where I did not title this slide correctly. as you can see, select your create your end user we've already done. This is the final page, which as per normal, you have to tick the T's and C's. If you want to view the Crossware terms of service of the EULA, you can, as is the Ingram Micro one. Link is here as well. It lists exactly what you've purchased, and provisioning occurs within minutes. Like it is automated, which is absolutely wonderful. Just no heavy lifting on Crosswares, and you'll get and again, please help me out here, Peter. They'll get a notification immediately, like in their inbox, welcoming them, or is it just go straight into our portal?
There are the customer side, if they log in, there is a welcome kind of URL that they can click on to go to the portal. But apart from that, yeah, there will be some notifications, but they can just go to portal.crossware365.com and they can log in with their customer's tenant name, and then they can start configuring and setting it up.
Yeah, brilliant. It's fantastic. Really, really, really good. I don't think I've left anything out there. The trial is important because that's super easy. Putting in the right tenant name. I think that covers pretty much the high points. Oh, Kainush has one more question. Thank you. How much of a delay does adding the signature add to the delivery time?
Sure. So as I mentioned before, it's all done in memory in real time. So we don't have a disk in that service. So there's nothing written to disk. It's just done in memory. So it is very quick. It does add a small, it might be between 1-2 seconds, maybe 3 seconds would be what we would see. We normally expect it to be below that though. It actually depends on Microsoft, not the Crossware service. Sometime you may just be sending an email without even, without Crossware at the moment, and you'll notice that sometimes things take a bit longer to deliver around the internet than other times, and that's just based on the load within the Microsoft system itself. But from our service perspective, it's it's in the seconds, one or two. Yeah.
It's really fantastic. Well, thank you. We've come up to almost exact time. I really appreciate all the questions that were provided as well. I know that Peter and Janet did a really good job of explaining things. And again, there'll be a follow-up EDM with a link to the recording here. Like I said, Peter, maybe since we'll add in the contact details and your portal address and just some other bits and pieces for those who want to buy Crossware. It's brilliant. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. I hope everyone has a wonderful afternoon, and I look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. Thank you, Peter,
Great.
Janet,
Thank you.
Anna.
Great. Thank you.
Bye for now.